Okay, we are back for yet another Yap session for episode 7 of Bridgerton season 3. I am so sorry it's taken me so long to get around to doing this. To be honest with you, I really need to get back into the groove of it. Like, I probably need to do a rewatch to really get my obsession reignited. In order to really do the best version of these kinds of things, especially like the Paulin relationship analysis. I really need to get in a groove again about that. But a lot has been going on. I've been very busy. I have other things going on outside of the channel. And I also am expanding on the channel, and I just want to say that it's really helpful if you like and watch those other videos, even if they're not Bridgerton related, even if they're things that you don't necessarily care about, because it does in turn support the entire channel and allow me to continue doing Bridgerton content as well. Now, would I do Bridgerton content no matter what? I mean, yes. Come on now. Come on now, let's be real. Be real here. But I just want to say that I am kind of venturing out into some other genres, some other territories, and it's really helpful if you appreciate and support those as well in addition to this. But today's all about Bridgerton. We're here for another Yap session, baby. Episode 7, the penultimate episode of season 3. I, of course, as always, am dressed and styled and makeup and haired in the vein of Penelope. A few of her looks are like this. Some of my favorite looks of hers are like this. Now, do I do it justice? Absolutely not. My hair simply can't do what hers does. And I guess that makes sense because it is a wig. It is a literal wig, but also mine's much longer and anyway, you don't really care. I know you don't. It's okay. Whatever. But this is the vibe. You know, we're in the spirit. So let's jump into this episode. Of course, this episode picks up right where it left off with the Lady Whistledown reveal. Colin is very upset, okay? He's very upset, rightfully so. And I really do think it was a smart choice, whether or not this was intentional by Luke Newton and Nicola Coughlan, but to make this really more of a hurt emotion. You know, he's crying rather than screaming. It is deep anger, but it really, at the core, is deep hurt and sadness. And I think that I explained this in my Colin character analysis, but this is through and through a trauma response from Colin, okay? He literally has the biggest trauma about being duped, being fooled, being bamboozled, being gullible, being immature, being seen as, you know, a happy-go-lucky guy who gets taken advantage of, and that's happened to him several times before in this very family, mind you. So to feel like this is happening yet again is really, really rough, which is why I think that his response actually makes a lot of sense. I'm almost surprised that there are a lot of people who are like, he shouldn't have been as mad, or like, are weird about Colin's reaction, because I'm like, makes 1,000 million billion % sense, actually. What do you expect him to be? How else do you expect him to be? But again, he's a soft boy, so he's crying, and the crying is so good. The camera work is delicious. It's wobbly. It's moving around with them. It's so fraught.
I was worried about you, terrified that your carriage driver had abducted you to this part of town, when in truth, you knew exactly what you were doing, because it was you who printed Tonight.
It's not Print Tonight's edition.
Oh, but every other one. Is it not you who has been Lady Whistledown all along?
They're so upset. Me in romance fiction, they're so upset. Like, yes, I love to see it. I really do. And of course, they're both cry. I mean, it's terrible. It's awful. And we clapped and we cheered. And you know, the way he advances on her and is looking down at her and the tear falls. Like,
all of the lies you have told me, all of the things you have written about me and my family.
Please.
I knew something was wrong.
Also, he really starts into a spiral of self-blame and self-hatred, of course. You know, stupidly, I blamed myself, which that is rough. That's a rough line on so mmany levels I can't even begin to dissect.
Stupidly, I blamed myself, as if I was undeserving of your love. But you are the one that is at fault. I will never forgive you.
I probably will in my Paulin relationship analysis, but the dialogue here is as it should be. They also both, you know, it's flowing and steaming in the dead of night with their cute little jackets. Like, I'm just a girl. What do you expect from me? What do you expect from me? I'm just a girl. I'm susceptible to these kinds of things. What do you mean they're having a heated argument in the dead of night with mist and flowy jackets? Thank you. Then we move on to the Cressida voiceover where she's impersonating Lady Whistledown, writing her own column, releasing them.
Dearest gentle reader.
No!
If you thought that revealing my true identity would stifle me, guess again.
This is camp. Don't get me wrong, this is camp. But this is everything I wanted and more. There's so much that they could have done and should have taken advantage of, and I really do think that they did, in a narrative sense, take advantage of kind of all the hijinks and the funny and ridiculous situations that can come as a result of someone impersonating Lady Whistledown. I really had hoped that they would do Lady Whistledown with the voice of Cressida or whoever was going to be impersonating her, that voiceover to show that difference. I thought that was really well executed. That's what I wanted.
Oh my god, I actually had this idea though. That was one of my ideas. I was like, a battling Lady Whistledown, like someone is publishing and Penn's publishing.
It was hilarious. It was terrible, also. I mean, also, her talking about the Bridgertons being horny, well, she clocked them. Okay, Cressida is wrong about a lot of things, but is she wrong about the horniness of the Bridgertons? Did she lie? Not really.
Perhaps the family confuses love with lust.
However, until she got into dubious parentage, she is so crazy for that, and her mom is so crazy for that.
Has one ever wondered why so many? This author certainly has. Perhaps because a few of them may be of dubious parentage.
The lies she writes.
I have no idea why they thought that was a smart decision to go after the Bridgertons in this way, to come for their throat, come for their neck like this. Especially when there wasn't any drama, like, surrounding them at that current moment. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if they're down on their luck to take a shot, but it's another to start hypothesizing about the parentage and infidelity allegations to them, like, out of nowhere. It's just so bizarre. But, again, she's not the brightest bulb. It makes some sense. And I thought it was hilarious and delightful. And I do think it's very convenient, of course, for the writers to make her so heinous in this way, where it's like, when they get the real Lady Whistledown back, they're like, oh, thank God. Like, Violet says something, and she's like, oh, thank goodness. The real Lady Whistledown is back.
Oh, thank goodness.
Dearest gentle
There
reader.
we go.
They're definitely conveniently setting up a situation in which people will not be quite as mad at Penelope when the reveal happens. Nonetheless, I think it still works, and I do like the idea of having rival Whistledowns or rival gossip papers and one person impersonating another. Like, this is some of the fun things that they can do with the storyline, and to be honest, they haven't done too much with the Whistledown storyline, or they could have done more in the past, so I actually really like that they incorporated this element from the book and took it one step further and kind of made it... I mean, it was camp. It was. What can I say? It was camp. It was camp! Her voiceover is going all around the top, everybody reading, like, oh my god. But, again, it really does a good job of setting Penn's talent apart and making that a particular thing that is not easy for anybody to replicate, and she has actual tea to spill. She has actual observation. She has actual bad... Like, one of them was like, she was like, and what about that abusive husband? Like, I was like, oh... Is this the purpose of Lady Whistledown? Is this an abuse hotline? Because if it was that all along, why haven't we been doing that?
I will not even mention the small cruelties Mr. Davidson's wife endures daily. Except, I suppose, I just did.
But it also marks a shift from the writers as well into, see, Penn's doing more good than she is harm now. It's kind of this matured version of Whistledown that now is really just reporting on those who really deserve to be reported on. Rather than just salacious gossip or rumors, it's more, these are kind of bad people and I'm kind of gonna let them get what they deserve. And, everybody can get behind that. I can support that, everybody else can support that, and they are setting it up in that way for a reason. Also, just the breath of fresh air that is Julie Andrews' voice. You really come to appreciate her and the talent and the vibe and the je ne sais quoi that comes with it. Like, it's just like, yes, this is Lady Whistledown. Not my Lady Whistledown, you know what I mean? That type of thing. I mean, they're kind of like patting themselves on the back and be a little self-aggrandizing and be feeding into themselves and making it more convenient. They're writing themselves out of a corner in a lot of ways. But you know what? It was done in such a way that I have to admire. I have to be like, well, yeah, that worked. Yes, this is what I wanted. And it is, okay? It is. What did you want to happen, truly? I know a lot of people have issues with this season. As many times as I've watched it, I can't really wrap my head around a lot of the issues. I just really don't have issues with it. I don't know if that's because, again, I wasn't as married to certain things as I was in maybe the Canthony season. I don't know if that's because they're not my tip-top number one couple. I don't know why that is, but all these issues that people have, I'm kind of like, what did you want and what did you expect? They kind of ate that. I don't know what to tell you. Like, they wrote themselves out of a lot of corners. Yes, it was convenient, but they did it in a time-efficient manner, in a way that didn't feel too forced, and in a way that did wrap a bow on everything, which is the ultimate goal. So, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. I liked it. It was camp. Also, you know, as with so many shots this season, that shot of Pin in the floorboards, I'm looking respectfully. I'm looking so respectfully. Okay, floorboard shot. She looks so good. And I love, it's so funny. They had her lose her virginity, and now she's like a sexy vixen. You know what I mean? Like, this kind of look that I'm not successfully pulling off, but that kind of look where it's like the smoky eye and the shorter hair straight, like the different silhouettes. I don't know if y'all noticed that. Her silhouettes got so much more snatched. Especially in the last 2 episodes. I mean, her silhouettes are snatched from this point forward. She just looks... It's a lot tighter, it's a lot sexier, it's a lot... It's a lot of things. It's so funny because they definitely went with a looser silhouette for the first half of the season. You know, she's growing into her womanhood, her maturity, her sexuality, her power. And, you know, the last 2 episodes are really her taking ownership of that in more ways than one. And it just is funny to see, but she looks too good. She looks too good, and I you know, if she didn't look so good, I might be mad about it, but Colin is mad about it, and I don't blame him for being mad about it. He's like, not when I'm mad at you. How can I be mad at you when you look so good, when you look like this? This is so rude and disrespectful of her. And it kind of is, but I would do the same. So, power to her. Again, I did like the development of the Featherington subplot and storylines, like Prudence getting jealous of Penelope, Penelope and Portia's relationship growing, Philippa kind of in the back, like not knowing what's going on, her and Dankworth, like, oh, it's very good. It really humanized them. I really did like what they did with that, and I was surprised that they pulled it off, because here I was thinking, okay, I don't really care about that, I don't really want that, and I didn't need it. It wasn't necessary for them to have development, because they were always kind of comedic relief, but I do think that they kind of fleshed them out in a way that made their storyline touching by the end, and I'll get to that later. You know, people joke that Benedict and Penelope have never had a conversation. What do you call this? I'm just kidding. He literally picks up that he is not welcome, and he's like, I'll be over there, okay. And, of course, you know, we see a little reconciliation here. She's all of a sudden grateful for Whistledown because she saw the alternative and it was so much worse, Eloise's, and then gets the bomb drop that Colin found out. Colin is not in a good state. Eloise is very worried about him. Penelope's very worried about him. But she's also very worried about herself. She's like, I think he might call at the wedding and I kind of want to die. And please help me? And Eloise, very wisely but still kindly, says, really not my jurisdiction. And that really has nothing to do with me, and I really can't help you there.
Eloise, I do not know what to do.
I cannot help you with this, Ben. I am so grateful for everything you've done for me, but already I feel in the middle between you and Colin.
I understand. It's my mess with Colin, not yours. Forgive me.
And I thought that that was a really kind of mature, insightful response from Eloise, because it really isn't her place. She shouldn't be put in that position of being put between her brother and her ex-best friend, now new best friend again. She's been keeping the secret this entire time. Like, she's in such a rough spot. And I completely think it's valid for Penelope's instinct to ask her for help, but it's also completely valid for her to say, I can't really get into that. But I did think it was also interesting, you can kind of see a little bit of the insecurity actually being addressed directly between them, where she's like, you liked him first, and, you know, I don't know, maybe I was always just a part of this, and I didn't even know it. And Penelope makes sure to reassure her that, you know, she was kind of her first true love, and what she had with Colin was an infatuation, which I don't I get why she's saying it that way, and I get what she's saying. And I do understand that, like, their relationship has shifted now. She sees him and their relationship a lot differently now because they've actually been in a relationship. You know, they've had a romance, they're engaged, they've had sex. Like, that is a far cry from loving someone from afar, unrequited, like, staring at them longingly. But I do think that I just thought it was interesting. I was like, okay, well, childish infatuation, was it though? Because it kind of stuck. It kind of stuck the entire time, and it kind of stood the test of time. It was actually kind of the strongest thing that's ever been presented on this show, because what do you mean it made it through all those years and all those disappointments and is still holding strong? But, I mean, I'm joking, generally speaking. It makes sense. And it is good to reaffirm that friendship and that there is that relationship that exists separately from Colin. And again, as someone who has had been in love with the best friend's brother type vibe, it's so true. And it makes a lot of sense why the sister, Eloise, in this equation would kind of question the friendship and think, okay, were you using me to get to him? But from the other perspective, from Penelope's perspective, like, they're very different. They happen to be intertwined, right? They happen to be siblings, but, like, her love for Eloise is very independent of her love for Colin. And again, I just related to that and understood that. So I thought they were both very mature here. And again, like, their arc and their growth into more maturity was really evident, especially the way that Penelope realized the error of her ways, apologized, and then recalibrated. Like, I was just like, well, yes, this is what you get when you communicate. This is what you get when you're mature. This is what you get when you're direct. You know, emotional maturity, therapy, psychology, it's just, everything's coming together. They're growing up. There is a weird scene with Lady Danbury and Violet. Sometimes their scenes are weird. I'm like, I don't really know what you're trying to do, and it doesn't seem to... They like to make isolated scenes where they're, like, making a point about motherhood or womanhood or older women in general, and that I stand with, and that I love, and I'm like, well, yes, of course. Women are, you know, workhorses, and they are expected to do everything and be perfect at everything. Like, I very much agree with that, but it doesn't always apply within the context. Like, she's talking about the way that she treated Francesca, which was not good, okay? Which could have been better. She really needed to switch up on that. And Lady Danbury's like, well, you can't do everything, and everybody just expects you to be perfect all the time. And I was like, well, yes and no. Yes, but also, no, she's right to want to apologize and make this right. She actually is in the wrong. But then again, Lady Danbury's in a weird spot because she's, like, mad about Marcus, which... I don't know. Yeah, I love Lady Danbury, I love Adwa. The way that is... We'll get to it. Okay, we'll get to it. That's the way that storyline panned out. I was like, okay. She does say that, you know, their friendship isn't contingent on helping each other, which I think is a really great thing to establish. And it's true. Like, a lot of their relationship does revolve around helping each other, or, like, matchmaking schemes, or this, that, and the other, helping each other out of scandals. So it's nice for them to have a moment where they establish their affection for each other outside of that. It also did feel like the unspoken kind of backstory from Queen Charlotte was really present there, and I do think that there are some good scenes there where Queen Charlotte really does add another layer to it, another element to it that gives it this backstory and gives it a more fully fleshed out kind of thematic resonance and character resonance as well. So that was good. Then we get to the confrontation between Eloise and Colin. Colin looks so good here, by the way. I mean, when does he not? Let's be real. Like, do I need to say it? Do I need to say it about any of these motherfuckers? Like, they all look so good all the time. It's so annoying. And so pleasing to the eye, and ear, and heart, and mind, and body and soul. So, you know, he approaches her. He's so baby here. He's so hurt. And Eloise is so hurt. Ugh. See, this scene is actually... I'm going to compare this to a scene that was done later that I actually think could have had way more pain and sorrow and suffering. This was maximum pain and sorrow and suffering.
How long have you known?
I did not know until last year. And I was too broken-hearted to speak of it. I have been trying to make her tell you. And then I thought, why break your heart as well?
Both of them are very valid in their positions to be hurt. Both of them are very valid to volley accusations back and forth at each other, to be mad at each other, to feel betrayed by each other. Like, they're both so correct. And the whole situation is just so fraught that it's just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's truly like a, like a battle. I was like, oh, damn, okay. And she's like, oh, you've been hiding that you were in love with my best friend. What about that? And he's like, okay, yeah, so about that, I guess you do have a point. And it just kept volleying back and forth between like, well, you did this, and you did this, and I did this, and she did this, and it's just like, yes, that's what we like.
She has not written anything withering about anyone, or if she has, they have deserved it.
Are you forgetting what she wrote about me at the start of the season?
She's correct, sir.
Of course, that was not so good.
We love mess, and we love untangling the mess. And there's so much love between all three of them. Again, one of the things I love about this season is the relationship between the three of them and their individual relationships and how they all affect each other. Like, it's so complicated. It's so messy. She's been keeping the secret from Colin for Penelope, but also for herself in a, preventative measure. And she doesn't want to hurt Colin. She doesn't want to hurt herself. She doesn't want to hurt Penelope. Like, it's just so rough. It's really, really, really rough. And I think it's very telling that, they're both already, bless Colin, he literally has been mad at Penelope for 0.2 seconds, and all of a sudden he's like, but have you forgiven her? He's like already thinking of forgiveness, you know what I mean? Like, he can't help it. He wants to be mad. He wants to stay mad, probably for longer than he does, and he just can't help but already be like, so have you forgiven her? Can I forgive her already? Like, what's the protocol here? What are we doing? Like, what's going on? I did think the shots were very interesting in this. They kind of go through the stairway. They're very interesting kind of angles that are showing kind of half obscured parts of their faces and whatnot. But I thought both of this was really well acted, especially like Claudia's Eloise, like her being emotionally direct and vulnerable in this way, like really expressing how much Penelope has hurt her and then how much Colin has hurt her. And I really think she's valid in expressing that. And I think Colin's valid in expressing how hurt he is by Penelope and by Eloise. And it's just, I think that they really addressed all the things that needed to be addressed here and wound up with a conclusion that's very human in the way that it's just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I love her, but I'm so mad. And both of them kind of come to that conclusion. And I want to forgive her, but I don't know if I can. I don't know how long that's going to take. Like, it's just messy in a way that I love. And I did think, I wonder what people's interpretation of the line that he says where he's like, feel lucky you've never been in love, and her reaction is. I'm sure some people are going to be like, the Theo warriors are going to be like, see, but she was in love with Theo, so this is a reference to that and how little her family actually knows about her, that this has been going on and they don't even know that she's had her heart broken or whatever. And it could be that. I also think it could be a reference to, like, her season later. I don't really know. What's y'all's interpretation of that line? But I thought the dialogue here was really good and the performances were really good. It was very, like, emotionally affecting and just, it was like, yikes, oh my god, it was very involved.
Are you going to call off the wedding?
I am a man of honor. And we were intimate.
Now we get to the entrapment line! The entrapment line! You guys don't understand. If you hate this line, you just don't get it like I do. You just don't get it. I'm so sorry to tell you this. I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news. You just don't get it, okay? You just don't get it like I do, okay? You just do not get it. Because this line is actually everything to me, and it's like my favorite line of the whole season. Not really, but kind of, sort of. Now, I can't get into all of it. I definitely will in the Paulin relationship analysis, but this line... Chef's kiss.
Perhaps that was another part of your planned entrapment.
I did not mean to entrap you, Colin. I love you.
I needed a line like this. I needed an entrapment line. I needed it for my health and well-being in my soul, okay? We needed this moment. Y'all don't understand how badly we needed this moment. Okay. God, is this so... I don't know, maybe this is revealing. It's like a terrible, awful, very toxic moment for their relationship, and I'm like, hee, like, I'm literally celebrating. But it also, he's speaking his truth, okay? But he's also not. because that's not how he actually feels. And he immediately feels guilty, and you can see it all across his face. And I love her steady, unflinching response to that. She doesn't even register it. Like, she isn't even hurt by it. It's like water off a duck's back because she knows that he doesn't mean it. And she knows that that's not real. She knows that's not who they are and that's not true to them. And she's like, I love you. She just has to reaffirm it. She's like, I wasn't trying to entrap you. And I love the delivery from both of them in this. The looks, the pain, the pining, the angst. Good Lord! This is how you do it, people, okay? And this is a terrible thing to say, but also, is it? Now, of course he's wrong and incorrect, and that pisses me off a little bit in some ways. I'm like, how dare you? How dare you? Entrap her! You were the... Sir! Sir, she didn't even know what babies were, or how they were made. Okay? Did you see how shocked she was? Like, what do you mean entrapped? Be so fucking for real right now, Colin. Entrapped you. Okay. You didn't have the nut inside her. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, well, there are about a billion things wrong with that statement, and he knows it! And he knows he's being a little shit, and he hates himself for it. Oh, it's so out of character for him, which is why I love it so much, and why we needed it. And she does need to be read to filth. I don't understand, like, yes, okay, she's not guilty of this particular crime that he's accusing her of, but he's being suspicious of her, he's feeling betrayed by her, his just overall kind of disgust at the situation and just heartbreak and him being angry and lashing out. He's like a wounded animal. Like, it's what he deserves and it's what she deserves. But you know what? She also deserves to push back, which is why I like that she's so firm and steadfast. But I also love this dynamic for them in their relationship that she is steadfast. She doesn't even hit back at him. She could say a lot of things in response to him in that moment. But I love that she doesn't. I think it's a smarter choice. I think it's a more interesting choice. It would have been very easy for them to be like, okay, he's going to say this kind of nasty thing to her. She's going to absolutely read him to filth. And then he's going to be like, oh no, what have I done? But I like that it's not that. And I think it's in character, and it makes a lot of sense for both of them in their relationship. Like, I can't explain to you how delicious this is, and how much it works, and how good it is, and how preferable it is to any dumbass, bland-ass thing that, like, anybody's like, oh, they should have done this, or he shouldn't have said that. I'm like, yes, he should have, and it's actually the best thing that's ever happened to me, so thank you. And again, I know this sounds crazy, and I'm not really explaining it all that well. I will go into depth in the Paul and relationship analysis, but I really like that they went there with this. Of course it's wrong. Of course it's painful. But it makes sense for where they both are. It makes sense that that is something you would say and regret immediately. Like, the deliveries from both of them are so good. Like, they could have butchered those lines, right? Like, there's a way that this could have been delivered in a way that really those lines are bad. But the way that they calibrated those performances was so pitch perfect that it was just delicious. It was so good. Enthralling television. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I hated it, and I loved every second of it.
Let us get through this wedding, and then we will decide what this marriage will be.
Okay.
And we should have a quartet over here, or perhaps even a quintet.
I thought this would be a possibility, but I'm surprised they went down this route. And I'm very fond of that line now, and I actually go back and watch that scene from time to time, just because I'm like, ooh, look at it. Look at the angst. Look at the anger. Look at the hurt. Look at the betrayal. Ah! Oh, they're so hurt. Not me giggling in glee. Not me joyful. Like, but they're both suffering so much. I hate to see it, and I love to see it all at the same time. Okay? Also, this is maybe her best dress. Has she ever looked better? And you know what? They had to fortify her with such a look for this moment in particular. She had to look out of this world that good when he says that shit to her. Because you know he regrets it even more, and you know it pains him to say it even more, and you know he can't even look at her because he's like, oh, you look too good, you're too sexy, you're too hot, you're too amazing, you're too beautiful, I love you too much, but I'm trying to be mad at you! And I love to see that. We love to see that dynamic. He says I'm a man of honor. I was like, okay, Anthony, no, they have to have Benedict say it in season 4, don't they? They have to. And it couldn't be farther from the truth. I'm like, be so fucking for real, you guys. You guys. The introspection is not functioning at peak level in the Bridgerton family, particularly with the Bridgerton men, and that's okay. You know what? They have faults and flaws. And this is one of them. What do you mean I'm a man of honor? You literally got her pregnant. Stop. So annoying. But also, what Penelope... See, that's another thing. People are all mad at Colin. I'm like, I'm sorry. What Penelope did was absolutely insane and terrible and awful. Okay? It was. It just was. And him saying this was insane and terrible and awful as well. But they're both hurt, and they hurt each other, and they love each other, and they're flawed human beings, and they made mistakes, okay? It's just complicated. I think people really can't do messy, they can't do complex, they can't do complicated. Me, eat it up. It's all I want in anything I ever watch. Ever. Okay? If you're giving me something simple or easy, I don't want it. No thank you. Give me complicated, okay? And this is complicated. Okay? Why'd you have to go and make things so complicated? Maybe they could do that in some season. I could see it. Can't you see it? New, 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 new. On strings? Anyway. Not the tangent. Then there's a little transitional scene with Benedict and a maid! I need to do a video about all the foreshadowing, because they actually have dropped a lot of hints about Benedict and Sophie, about the class difference, about his relationship with the working class, with maids in general, and this is one of them, and I appreciate it, and I see it, and I am grateful, and I just want to put that out there. Thank you. Thank you. I see what you did there. So then him and Tilly have a talk, and he's... I'm sorry. I know I talked about it last episode. Sure, I don't really know. This was messy and not in a good or intentional way. I think it just, yeah, very haphazard, but he's like, you know, I've known men like him, but I haven't been tempted. And she actually does eat with this. She says, have you been tempted by every woman you meet? I mean...
I myself have never felt tempted before.
Are you tempted by every woman you meet?
I'm not.
Good point, Queen. So true. Oh my god. Should I share the thought that I just had? This is so embarrassing, but I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh no, he hasn't been tempted by every woman he met. I'm sorry, if Benedict Bridgerton came across me, there would be a chance that he wouldn't be tempted by me. That's so devastating to me. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. Surely not. Surely. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, so she makes a really good point there, and that's true. And they do a good exploration of, like, sexuality and what it means and what it looks like and how it manifests and how it's different for everybody and how you can find attraction to certain people regardless of sex, and how, you know, they're told that the world is a certain way, but there's really so much outside of it, and they live within these restraints. Again, this is foreshadowing and hinting toward his entire relationship with Sophie to begin with, that they live outside the restraints of society and against what is commonly accepted and commonly known, and they kind of defy the boundaries and the logic of the world in that way. And she makes a great point. Like, I was like, well, yes, gay rights, like, that's what she's saying. She's a queen, she's an ally, she's campaigning, as she should. But I was like, okay, so we're doing this now.
But a feeling between two people, whatever their sex, is the most natural thing in the world. If you did not feel anything with Mr. Suarez, then let us, you and I, continue on our own.
Okay, they're going full send.
It felt a little, like, out of place. It felt like, okay, so we're saying gay rights in Bridgerton. Which, period, love it. But again, it just felt a little shoehorned in. It was like, okay, so we're doing this.
My staff are very discreet.
Woo!
Okay.
And again, I didn't feel like, and I don't know if this is a direction or writing, I can't imagine it's an acting point, because Luke Thompson does have chemistry with everybody, but I didn't, you know, Benedict's like, I don't know if we had a moment, and I'm like, I don't know that you did either. Tilly's so sure, I don't know what she was seeing, because I don't know that I really saw a moment, sir. I don't know that I saw a moment even when you're literally, like, inside of each other. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see the vibe. I don't really get it. It doesn't really appear to be there. But then again, they can spin this in a good way for Benedict's character, which is basically that, like, he's never actually cared about or connected to anybody that he's ever had a sexual relationship with, which if they're going down that route, well, yes, absolutely. And I can't wait to see how he is with Sophie. But, yeah, they do a gay rights little thing. And again, while I'm like, yes, period, absolutely. And I agree with everything, and I like the way that it's written. It is cleverly woven into this world and this time, until he's a queen for that. It did also feel like, okay, what, you're, like, saying this to Benedict so that he could, like, feel okay to explore his sex. I don't know, guys. I don't know about it. I don't know. I just wish they would have done it in season 2 if they were gonna do it. It just feels like an afterthought. It just doesn't, yeah, I don't know. It just feels shoehorned in. What can I say? That's my personal truth. Okay, that's my personal opinion. I don't know what to tell you. Go look at episode 6 Yap Session to see more in-depth explanation about, like, why I feel that way and what I think could have worked better. But they said gay rights, and I say gay rights too. Gay rights. Absolutely. Then we have a quick little scene with Marcus and Violet. This is very interesting. It's been a while since she's been back on the wagon, if you will. You know, she hasn't engaged in flirtation or courting or calling hours or any of these kinds of things. So it's very unfamiliar and it's very foreign to her, and I like seeing a more girlish kind of scared side of her. It does, you know, it's innocence a little bit, and that is very interesting to explore, and that generally, that part of this, I do love that they're exploring, and conceptually and thematically, I do love the exploration of kind of like, what does that look like, rebuilding your life, trying to find love again after so long. You're in a new place in your life, you know, you're not a kid anymore, you have your own kids, like, what does that look like, how does that work? And how do you navigate that? You know, it's so her horny little stare at his lips, so funny.
Lady Bridgerton.
Classic.
Once Francesca and Lord
They had to get it from
Carmarthen's
somewhere.
days out.
Violet, I love you so bad, but was Cressida wrong? Okay, you scoffed at that, but I'm sorry. The Bridgertons are horny. They're known to have a horny look. All of them. Okay, you're not immune. You are the mother and creator of all of them, so it had to come from somewhere. And we see the origins right here. And I don't blame her. But she does confide in him about Francesca and John and needing to fix that, and also tells him basically to fix his relationship with Lady Danbury. And again, I think it is very interesting to see the new, like, blooming of this relationship with two people that have lived full lives, right? Like, they're much more direct, they're much more communicative, they actually say what they mean and say what they want, and they communicate their needs clearly, and so seeing that kind of calm, rational, adult conversation was very nice to see. Even though I love miscommunication, it is very interesting to see a new relationship through that lens of people who have lived a full life. Cressida and her mom have a fight. It's revealed that, you know, her mom was the one who wanted to write bad things about the Bridgertons. Who knew she had such beef? I mean, why wouldn't you? Look at them. Look at them. Everybody wants to be them. They are everything. I can't really be mad. But she's taken the tack of, you know, wanting to be enemies rather than friends, and I just can't wrap my head around that. Come on now. Yeah, and she's like, good to take them down a peg. I was like, okay. Okay. Who knew you were harboring such resentment for them specifically? Like, it felt a little weird, because I don't know that we've ever really seen her directly express disdain for the Bridgertons. She definitely has for the Featheringtons, and if bad things are happening, like the Antony scandal, sure, but, like, not just generally speaking for them. So that seemed like a little bit of a surprise, but it did prompt Cressida to be like, actually, maybe Eloise was a good friend, and maybe the only friend I've ever had in my life, and maybe I just ruined that. And you know what? You did. You did. And you were led astray, but you also made that choice, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I feel for Cressida. I feel empathy for her. She's had a hard life. She has a hard family, difficult upbringing, very twisted, and she's socially inept, is the truth of it. She doesn't know how to make friends. She's never really had any friends. When she has a friend, she doesn't know how to keep them. She doesn't know how to treat them. And that's sad. It is sad. Then we go to the, like, bachelor drinking thing. This foursome, Love it. John is just a cutie patootie. He's like hiccuping, like he is so fun. Honestly, all of them are very funny, and their like tipsy drunk acting is pretty good here too. I thought it matched their characters so well. Like him be like, your mom hates me, and he's no, she just loves a good love story. Check out my Violet character analysis. I do talk about this quality of Violet's. And he's like, go throw rocks! Yeah, rocks! At her window. Oh, Luke Thompson, the man that you are, the actor that you are, the delivery is just so good. It's so good. Like, do you understand how much his little pauses and stutters and stumbles, like, elevate that line and that material to just comedic gold and genius, and just endear the audience to him a million times more?
Throw rocks at Francesca's window tonight. Your problem is that you're trying much too hard to be respectful.
And it also, don't get me wrong, it certainly had me, I'm like, you're gonna be throwing rocks at some windows, okay? I can't wait to see you doing that. Eat your words. Take your own advice.
Bold. Well, if I am to be bold, I shall need some time to think about it.
I love him so bad. Colin's obviously struggling here. We love the, like, bro time, but Colin is, you know, going after it. He is chug-a-lugging, and I love that Benedict notices this and looks after him, and then they kind of go back. What's wrong with you? Oh, you don't want to talk about it either? Okay, leave me alone. Bye.
Is everything well? Is everything well with you?
Very sibling coded in that way, but they care about each other, they love each other, but they also are not ready to talk about it or deal with their issues, and so they're kind of at a standstill in that way. And I love, you know, he kisses him on the forehead. So cute. Oh god, I love the heart of this. Again, if I have to remind people, which it seems like I do, really is the Bridgerton family. Like that, those moments, the family, the love, the connection, the relationships between them, so touching, so relatable, so heartwarming. It's the core of the show. Then we get a similar conversation with Genevieve and Penelope, you know, again, drinking it up. They're like, they're adults, guys. They're adults. They're adults. They are snatched. They have sex and they drink. Okay? They've grown up. Stop looking at them like kids. It is very much like hammering that home, which I think, again, they did a good job of. Like, I didn't feel like they were kids by the end of it. And I was a skeptic at the beginning. I could not... Taking the end of season 2, Penelope and Colin, I was like, how are they going to be romantic leads? It didn't make any sense to me, and somehow they made it work, and so I do have to commend them from that. I did like seeing her kind of regret her ways and talk about how she's hurt people, and they didn't need to do a lot of laying the groundwork for that, because even just this one line shows that she's been thinking about it. She's been mulling it over. She's been feeling bad about it. She's been feeling guilt about it. Genevieve is giving good... insight on like, well, you were so young and you didn't really know the power that you had, which is true. But then Penelope asks a great question, which again does feel like a preemptive little, thing to quell the audience. It's the type of thing that the audience would ask, especially the ones that really don't like Penelope or really don't like the Whistledown of it all, would say, well, does that matter? You know, like, I still hurt people. Like, does that matter? That there were these extenuating circumstances and that I was young and that I was immature and that I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, does that even matter? And I think she makes a great point where she's like, there's nothing you can do about it now. Like, you have to just apologize. You have to move on. You have to do better in the future. And that is all you can do in any given situation when you make a mistake like this and when you realize the error of your ways. You can't fix it, right? She can't fix the hurt that she's caused the Bridgertons and Colin, and all she can do is just move forward. But I also thought it was great that she brings up the dilemma that she's having now, which is like, I tried to give it up and I couldn't. It didn't feel right. It felt like I was giving away a part of myself, which, again, this is the dilemma that she is now faced with. And I think that it's a very valid one. It's a very true to life issue that happens to and for a lot of people. And as valid as Colin is in his upset, you shouldn't have to sacrifice the thing that you love or the thing that you're good at for someone else, or to have romantic love, right? The two should be able to coexist. And obviously it's more complicated because she actually has directly hurt him. But I do think that that's what it boils down to. And that's kind of the bottom line in both the book and the show. It's like, but is it right that she should give it up? And it's not. It's not. And it makes sense. You know, it is giving away a part of herself. I can't... Obviously, again, she has hurt people, so it's a little different, but, like, I couldn't imagine kind of being faced with this dilemma of, like, oh, the person I am in love with doesn't want me to do the thing that I love and that I'm good at and my passion in life. I'd be like, okay, so that doesn't seem right, and it isn't. You shouldn't be faced with such a dilemma and such a choice. Not that Colin is directly making her choose as of right now, but it is kind of the looming, impending question. Okay, so now we get to the Modis bitch off.
What are you doing out here? No, in fact, do not answer that. It is clear I found you in the midst of some secret dealings. I do not wish to know.
And what secret dealings have I found you in the midst of? All alone the night before our wedding?
This scene and I... Dude, I love this scene. Let me make that clear. I love it. It's kind of everything to me. But I do have issues with it, and I do think that it could have been even better, which is frustrating about it. Like, I need to maybe do a whole different video where I just rewrite the scene, because a lot of it is very good. And again, overall, absolutely, period. But there's things that bother me about it where I'm like, ugh, I want this to be addressed, and I want this to be addressed, and she should have said this, and he should have said this, that type of thing. I know that's, like, annoying to do. But I can't help but feel like, for my money, it could have been even better. But that being said, period. I love this scene. This scene is great. I love this confrontation. It's sexy, it's moody, it's angsty. They're yearning, they're pining, they're longing. They're so mad, they're so hurt. They're taking it out on each other. Their relationship dynamic is very, very interesting here. I have written a anatomy of a scene on this, which I don't know that I'm going to post anymore. Regardless, I will talk about it more in depth in the relationship analysis if I don't do a whole separate video on it. But maybe what I'll do is I'll watch it here and then I'll kind of just say my thoughts. And, you know, that's just an easier, more informal way. Kind of like I did with the mirror scene where I'm, like, giving more direct, just a stream of consciousness thoughts, which is dangerous. But just to explain kind of, like, what I think could have been done a little bit better. But again, even that being said, this is still a great scene and still pretty impressive. Like, I think they wrapped up a lot of things and covered a lot of things and touched on a lot of things that I wasn't sure they were going to. So I was relieved and grateful for the scene, and I still am, and I still think it's a great scene. But I personally would have liked a few additional things added to it, is basically the gist of my feelings about this scene. But it's hot and sexy, what can I say? I mean, it just is! Sue me, what do you want me to say? It is, okay? What would you do up against the wall with me? That's what they would do. In the middle of the night, right in public, they're crazy for that. They're freaks! And we know this. I remember my reaction to this was... I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like... Y'all... Right in front of everybody's salad! Right in the middle of the town square! Middle of the night! Y'all are crazy. It's absolute insanity to do this. But they couldn't help themselves. I love that. I love that for them and for me. Okay, so I'm just gonna watch and periodically pause. Not the matching flowing jackets in the dead of night. Love. Absolutely love.
What are you doing out here? No, in fact, do not answer that. It is clear I found you in the midst of some secret dealings. I do not wish to know.
And what secret dealings have I found you in the midst of?
I'm a menace.
All alone the night before our wedding.
What right do you have to ask me that?
Okay, so we love the power dynamics, the power shifts. she starts off on the wrong foot. She's literally below him, physically, metaphorically, spiritually. She is downtrodden. She's the one who needs to apologize, who needs to make it up. All of a sudden, she gets indignation. She steps up there. She fires back. She's angry at him. She tries to provoke him. There's this dynamic, again, I'll go into depth with it in other videos, but there's this dynamic here where basically Colin, he reverts to, I can't be around you. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to say things I'm going to regret. I don't want to see you. Whereas Penelope is the type of person that would much rather be around you, even if you're going to be mean to her. Even if you're going to say terrible things, she's like, no, I'd rather you stay here and be with me. So they're very incompatible in this way, and this scene is so clearly evidence of that, right? So far, both of them are kind of right. No, well, Penelope was a little out of pocket. There's literally nothing to suggest he was cheating on her, but I get it. She's honestly trying to poke him. That's really what's going on. She's trying to provoke him. Which, and it works. Look at him. Turns right back around. She got what she wanted.
After all the secrets you have kept, all of the things you have written
Now she
over the years, all of the damage you have done.
She says sorry.
I realize how much damage I have done. I'm so sorry for it.
What were you thinking when you wrote about Eloise?
I was trying to protect her. I realize now how misguided I was.
And when you wrote about Miss Thompson? Exposing her, as you did, ruining her.
I thought I was protecting you.
Then you should have told me to my face.
I know.
Okay. So here's the thing. I don't know if this is a writing problem or a character problem. Because I'm not saying that Colin wouldn't say this. He probably would. But that pisses me off. And I love you, Colin, but, like, be so fucking for real right now. Ooh, it actually does piss me off. Okay, the more that I think about it. Again, this isn't even an issue with the writing. It's more like, Colin, and I wanted Penelope to say this, where he's saying, you should have told me to my face. Would that have made a difference, Colin? Probably not. You were so wrapped up in it. And he even said in season 1, he's like, if you would have just told me that the baby wasn't mine and asked me for help, I would have helped you. That's how in love I believe myself to be. Penelope did that for somewhat selfish reasons, but she was right in knowing that even if she went to Colin and told him directly, that wasn't going to do it. That wasn't going to ensure that he wouldn't spend a lifetime married to her and caring for her children still and end up being, like, taken advantage of and not having an actual loving marriage like she knows he wants. So it is selfish on her part, but there's an inherent truth in what she did, because even if she had gone and told Colin herself, he probably still would have married her. And then where would we be? And I don't, maybe my many years as a lover girly, loving, pining, yearning from afar, like loving someone from afar and never telling them, and that being so painful, and like watching them be with other people, and just, maybe that's really where this comes from. It's my own trauma. But obviously it's not Colin's fault that he didn't know, right? And it wouldn't have even been his fault if he hadn't reciprocated, which at that point he wouldn't have, right? Nobody is owed the affection of somebody else. You shouldn't expect that. You shouldn't be indignant when somebody doesn't like you back. Like, you're not owed that. But I feel that they underplayed the pain that Penelope must have gone through waiting and watching for so many years. And that is what I wish they addressed more directly in this. Because that line right there, to me, if I'm Penelope, I would say, I should have, but would anything have changed? Would you have done the right thing? Or would you be married to her right now as we speak? Would you be raising her children with her? And we never would have been together in the first place. Like, and again, that is very selfish. And but it's very interesting because I think it's hard to explain, at least my sentiment, not me getting into my own personal things. My sentiment when I was in love with those people is I was like, I love you and I want you for me, right? But I am going to love you better than anybody else can. And so it felt loving towards them as well. It felt protective towards them. And I think Penelope is of a similar kind of mindset where it's like, I love you so much and I'm going to give you the best life and I'm going to do everything I can and all this stuff. I'm going to provide you with the best life that I possibly can. And that wouldn't happen if I hadn't done this. I don't know. I just feel like that was left unspoken, and maybe it is for the better. Maybe it is more mature. Maybe it is more healthy that she didn't hold that against him. And, you know, he's like, I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. And she's like, no, you don't have to. You know, being with you is the best gift already, that type of thing. But, like, I do feel, from an audience perspective and also from my own personal experience, there should have been a little bit more addressed about the pain that she went through. And the fact that, again, that's not even Colin's fault that it happened that way, but the fact that he doesn't consider that in all of this, I think, oh my god, why is it like bringing a tear to my eye? It just makes me upset. Like, I just wish that that was an additional element that she could fight back with a little bit more or present to him, because a lot of the things that he presents, and yes, he is very right to be angry at her. Okay, she is in the wrong for the, like, majority of this, right? But the fact that they didn't even touch on these other elements where it's like, I've loved you for so long and you like never even saw me. Like, there wasn't even a little bit of anger or despair or insecurity about that. Like, and again, I get that she understands who Colin is. She knows that he loved her as a person and just didn't see her that way. Like, I love that she's so forgiving, and he really doesn't have anything to like apologize for in that way of not noticing or not reciprocating. But it's real. It's still an element that's there. It's still something that she has had to deal with. And the fact that they didn't really even address it or dive into it, when I think that especially this conversation right here would have been just a perfect time to add that conflicting element to it, where it's like, well, you did this, and this hurt, and this also hurt, and I've been doing this all... They're comparing notes, essentially, right now. They're both saying, you did this, and you did this, and I did this, and like, this is kind of the time to hash it all out. If you're gonna say it, say it. So, I, again, love that they're saying this stuff, but I just wish that they would have added these other elements. Because again, when he says that thing of like, why didn't you tell me then you should have told me to my face. Oh, and you would have, sure, Colin, like that's just, it's just not true. He would have still done it, and he would have still regretted it. She did, in a roundabout way, like, save him by doing that, right? And he feels disrespected, and that's a whole other issue. His own insecurity and his own feeling that nobody takes him seriously and that nobody respects him and that type of thing. Like, there are deep wounds here from both of them that I think both of them could have dug into that isn't even necessarily the other's fault, right? Penelope doing that isn't a lack of respect for him. Just like him not reciprocating certain feelings or not seeing that she liked him isn't a lack of love and appreciation for her. Right? But those are their own insecurities, their own demons, their own things that they're dealing with, their own defects. And I feel like they could have and should have inserted that element of it a little bit more. Because it's just like, it's so complicated. There's such a long history here now of so many years of this dynamic that I just wish that would have been added to it. And I do feel like that's a kind of ridiculous line from Colin where it's like, be so fucking for real, Colin. Like you would have actually broken up with her. Like, okay, that's just not, it just isn't probably what would happen. I don't really see that happening. Again, he himself was like, if I would have known, then I would have just done it. You know what I mean? And sure, we can say, okay, well, maybe if he had known he was being betrayed or deceived or whatever by Penelope, then whatever. But like, he was so locked in, and for all the wrong reasons. He didn't actually love her, right? And he wasn't actually loved by her. So it wound up being a good thing for him. So it just, I just wish they'd gone into the complexity of that a little bit more.
I know.
Or do you not respect me enough?
So yeah, here's the respect, that wound.
It is clear you do not, after what you've written about me this year. But I hardly know myself. What were you thinking then?
Oh, he's so desperate. Oh, he's so desperate. Here we're getting to, like, a real root of the issue. It's so funny, because I actually think, at least the way that Luke delivered it, it feels like that's what he's really meaning to say. That's what he's most hurt about, and that's what he really cares about, and the other stuff he's kind of, like, says first. He's like, what about Eloise? What about Miss Thompson? Well, what about me? You know, he's, like, really hurt at this thing, but he's, like, covering the bases of addressing the other ones first, which I find very interesting and very, very telling. But he's so desperate. Oh god, they're both so desperate to understand each other. They're so confused and they're so hurt. Oh, so good.
But I simply wanted the Colin I know back. Not this stoic man you returned as, acting as if you care for no one and
so
need
she kind of read him for filth there. And this is a realization for him. Oh my god, the lighting is great in the scene as well. Good technical elements, like just genius, brilliant. the shimmer of the eye, because he has tears in his eyes and he can't even look at her, he has to look away, like, and the pause and stutter there, she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, they're so confused, they don't even understand what the other person is saying. It's so good. But yeah, I love to see her get a little indignant and fight back a little. She's like, well, you were acting weird, you know, that type of thing. And you know what, she's right. And should she have said that? Probably not. But was she correct? Yes. Did she tell a lie? No. And is this the whole crux of the issue in the first place, that she's like, I loved you the entire time just as you were. This entire time. That's what I wanted. I wanted that back. Again, they could have wrapped that back up in here if they had brought that up in the first place. That could be connected to this next line that she says she wants the Colin that she knows back. And he's like, you know, bowled over by that. He's like, you like me as I was? What?
It's you. Kind and feeling, occasionally excitable, good-hearted man who I love. I should have told you myself there are so many things I should have done myself, and now with the confidence you've helped me find this year, I'm finally able to.
Good, good, good.
So then you do not need Whistledown anymore.
Okay.
I do not need to hide behind Whistledown anymore, but I am not saying there is not any value in it.
Ugh, I love that part. This part is so bad, it's so terrible, it's so delicious.
So then you do not need Whistledown anymore.
I do not need to hide behind Whistledown anymore, but I am not saying there is not any value in it.
It's awful, because it's like, they both know. He knows what he's asking is not going to happen. And he can't help but ask it anyway. He knows it. He's like, so he's desperate to try and salvage it, to try and find any way that they could be happy together, for this to all just resolve itself, to be like neatly swept under. He's like, okay, so if you quit Whistledown, then I can move on. Then that'll be it. And she's like, no, and you know that too, and we both know that, but they're so desperate for it to be otherwise that they have to like play pretend in this way. It's so heartbreaking, actually. Oh, I'm looking away, rolling his eyes, period.
Do you know what is most humiliating? I let you talk so much about my journal as if I were to be this great writer.
Well, and here's a real wound, too.
You have been a published writer, renowned across Mayfair.
I love the way he delivers that. Oh, I love the way he, like, trembles it. He, like, trembles it out. And he's crying, he's on the verge of tears, he's so embarrassed, he's so humiliated, he hates himself, he doesn't understand, he doesn't see his value, he thinks it was all a lie. And I do like that she gets mad here. She's like, she's like, what are you saying? I meant everything I said about your writing. And again, it's this thing where it's like, I fucking love you, dude! I've loved you this entire time! Shut up! Like, oh my god, it's so frustrating, because he's like, so you don't actually love me? And she's like, actually, I've loved you way longer than this. Like, what are we even doing right now? Because he feels betrayed, and he feels like all this love that he got, and all this confidence that he gained in their relationship, he felt like it was the first time he finally had a purpose, he finally had a meaning, his life finally made sense, and then all of a sudden, he feels like it's all a lie, right? And it's not that. And she can understand why he feels that way, but there's also this frustration, because it's like, actually, I've been obsessed with you since the day we were born, so I don't really... What do you mean I don't like you? Like, it's just, what do you mean I don't think you're a great writer in person? Like, I am obsessed with you and always have been. And then I love he interrupts her when she says this, because he can't take the compliment, and he can't take the reality, and he can't even face his own demons and his own machinations, and he's just like, so he just interrupts her and he intimidates her anyway. He's like, he changes the subject and he tries to make it something else. He's like, he acts like he's mad about her being out at night, which maybe he is a little bit, but that's not really what he's mad about. But he has to change the subject because it got too real. Watch.
Colin, I meant everything I said about your writing.
You're putting yourself in danger being out here tonight, and you've been putting yourself in danger living this double life all along.
I have been careful.
You have been foolish.
Word choice, foolish, very interesting, because he consistently laments being called foolish, and that's literally the one thing that he never wants to be. So he's pretty much projecting here, oh, this is a psychologically very complex and interesting dynamic. Colin, I can take care of myself, then what good am I to you? He only thinks that he's worth anything if he's actually, providing her with something.
I can take care of myself.
Then what good am I to you?
Colin, I love you!
Okay, so I know a lot of people had an issue with that line. I actually personally love it. Because they're at a point, what else is there to say? What else can she say at this point? She's fighting... unwinnable demons against him, right? This insecurity, this trauma, it has nothing to do with her. It's been exacerbated by her and by the situation, but she's no match against it, right? She can say these things all along, but like, if he doesn't believe it, then he doesn't believe it. So what else can she say at this point? She's defenseless. She's exhausted. She's like, I love you, you idiot. There is that anger. There is that anguish. And what else is there to say? It's just plain and simple and true, right? And again, I'm gonna do other videos about this, but it just is, it sounds insufficient. But again, I think the way that she pauses and gets emotional in a second, then re-delivers it, she's saying so many things, even though she's just saying, I love you, right? In the performance, you can feel all of that. You can feel all of these other elements that we've been talking about, of the hurt and the pain and the betrayal and the fear and the insecurity and his demons, her demons, their incompatibilities, the way that they've hurt each other in the past. Like, all of that is there in the way that she speaks, but it's just like, I love you. What am I supposed to say other than that? Oh, I'm gonna get emotional. It's like, what is there to say? Like, it does seem insufficient, but I actually think it's very profound. I think it's very profound. And I think this is, you know, by his reaction, apparently it's the first time that he ever, like, believes it or something. I need to do more analysis on it, but, like, it is powerful and it is impactful. And I do think that it's just a desperation. It's just like, I have always loved you. I love you. Like, I love you. I know I hurt you. I can't take that back. I can't fix that. I can't change that. But I love you. And then, of course, you know, demisexual king that he is, here's I love you and gets so turned on. I was like, oh, I've actually never seen a man get so turned on by I love you. And I love that. You know, as he should. That's the right reaction to have. Oh, he's so he can't believe it.
I love you.
So desperate. Oh, he's so tempted. He's so mad. He's so horny. Oh. And right in there. Let's go. Absolutely. They're such freaks for this. They really are. This whole thing is absolutely crazy. Well, crazy. He went straight in there. He literally went... I'm like, you're literally on a public street. You went straight for the goosh. That's just crazy. That is crazy! Yet again, the intimate choreography and performance is just superb. What can I say? It's actually... it is crazy. It is crazy. They did that. They really did. And does this scene live rent-free in my head? Well, yes. Do I think about it a lot? Yeah. So what? I'm a human. What do you expect from me? And then I lost it when they said goodbye. Like, there's a moment, I think I actually flipped around in my bed. Like, I screamed aloud, which I don't do much. If I'm watching something alone, like, I'm not a very vocal person or that expressive of a person, which is actually why my first time reactions are not like, I'm not going to put it on for the camera just because there's a camera on there. Like, I'm just going to be reacting how I would normally, especially in that element when I'm binging something, I'm just laying down. Like, I'm just taking it in. So me screaming out loud and like rolling over, I was pissed. I was like, no! I wanted them to finish what they started.
I shall see you tomorrow.
No! So annoying. But then she looks so beautiful in the carriage. What can I say? And then they're holding hands, and then they're Lord and Lady Whistledown coded. And then it's just, I mean, they're too hot and sexy, and they also love each other, but they're also still so hurt, and there's so much pain. Ugh, so good. I love it. It's so good. Okay, now we go to Canthony. They're so silly and goofy. I love them so much. Couldn't love them more. Was so happy to see them return, as they should. Love to see the love for Kate. You know what I mean? Colin goes straight to Kate, and Anthony's offended. Like, the dynamic. Also, it did feel like a nod to the books, because Kate and Colin in the books are like this, and so it felt very nice to see that. They, of course, give him some good advice, and Kate does break it down in a good way, where it's like, okay, does whatever happen, like, really throw out these years of affection and friendship and this dynamic that you've had forever? Like, you love her just as a person, as a friend, and you have for so many years, so does this new information actually change that, or no? And he's like, well, no. He's like, well, if I'm honest, no.
Does whatever new information you have learned truly negate all that?
Hey, you're a goddess. Anthony was absolutely hilarious in the scene. Like, he's also, you know what, king that he is, he's a denial and delusion king. He's a Delulu king. Like, it makes so much sense and it checks out for his character that he's like, we have a perfect marriage and actually nothing ever went wrong. He blocked out the Edwina saga, is the truth. Like, she's like, our second wedding, like, when we finally got down to the altar, he's like, what? That's not even real. That didn't even happen. As far as I'm concerned, that didn't even happen. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, that didn't even happen.
You think our marriage is perfect?
Was it not?
I am more than happy now. But it took us time to get here. Time to get down the aisle, certainly.
You and fucking tell me about it. But yeah, I'm talking about them being a perfect couple, being annoyed, and she gets so annoyed at him. They're perfect. They are so fucking perfect. It's not even funny. The chemistry, the banter, the back and forth, the characterization is just out of this world, off the charts, on another level. We're operating on different spheres. You know what I mean? Like, it's just another world entirely. I don't know what to say. It's so easy. It comes with such ease to them. It's just like, I mean, they didn't even have to lift a finger to be so pitch perfect like that. And I thought it was a hilarious scene, hilariously delivered, great development for their relationship. Love to see them in the advice position, you know, mentors, as they should be. They are the Viscount and Viscountess. And so yeah, I loved everything about this scene, pretty much. You're wearisome tonight. I can't! Ah!
Our marriage is not hopeless.
You are wearisome tonight. Or perhaps it is the hour.
Oh my god. Oh, that's too good. Then Lady Danbury and her brother have a reconciliation, which I'm like, why was it even a reconciliation? Because actually nothing even happened in the first place. Maybe if Lady Danbury just, you know, used a little common sense, she would have seen that. I don't know. But then again, to be fair, we hold grudges against our siblings that are unfair and illogical all the time. I have multiple siblings, so I know this madness well, so I shouldn't judge. But it did seem like a little, especially at her grown age, it's like, have you not reevaluated and thought, maybe this like 10-year-old boy wasn't out to entrap me for the rest of my life and make me miserable? You know what I mean? Like, the fact that she hadn't even thought about a possibility of it being something else seemed a little strange to me. But again, maybe it's just arrested development. Maybe it's just that type of thing where she put that off, she stopped thinking about it, now he comes back into her life and it's like she reverts back to being a child. Maybe that's kind of what they were going for. But again, I thought this was a good clearing of the air. You know, he explains himself, which again, I'm like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why she assumed otherwise, but, you know, them talking about their family and their dad not being like the dad except for the cane and their genetics, them joking. This was actually a very heartwarming and touching scene. I felt moved by it, which I was surprised by. So I love the way that they wrapped this up. It did feel real. It did feel lived in. Even though it felt like a little silly overall, because it was like, okay, we, for all that for this? When it's just a misunderstanding. But then again, I guess we have things like that all the time. So I gotta, you know, be okay with that. But yeah, I love the way that they wrapped up. It was very sweet and touching.
You are nothing like him. Except the cane.
Danbury childhood prequel, let's go.
Do not come for my cane. I suppose you got all the good joints in the family.
Oh my god, why is this episode eating so bad?
Any joy I am after, I deeply hope you are a large part of.
Then we have a little scene of the queen. Everybody's like giving her tips or something. Someone was on crutches because they injured themselves. I mean, hilarious. This man comes up and he's like, actually, I think the only person capable of writing this is a man. No fucking shit. Of course you think that, sir. Of course you think that. Of course you think the only person intellectually capable of this. And as if other people haven't thought that before. As if this is groundbreaking news. And you know, a hypothesis for the ages. Okay, sure. So that was nice. Little levity there. And then we get into, you know, the wedding. Which again, I just have to say, anytime I talk about a Bridgerton wedding, the fact that Kate and Anthony didn't have a wedding is so sick and twisted. And them commenting on it in this doesn't make up for it, okay? I think they thought they really did something and they really ate. It just made me mad. I was just like, if you had a perfect wedding, why haven't we seen it?
I love weddings.
Ours was perfect.
Yeah, let's fucking see it! Oh, y'all are never not gonna piss me off about that.
How dare you reference their wedding and not fucking show it? Why
haven't we even seen a picture? Oh, well. Okay, maybe there wouldn't be a picture. Maybe a painting. Could we get a painting? Could we get a portrait? At the very least. I mean, come on. I think it would be, like, probably cheesy if they did, like, a flashback of it. I don't know. Anyway. So it's a beautiful wedding. I mean, of course, Pen looks gorgeous. It is a bit, it's a lot. It's a lot. I could have done the wedding look, but I actually didn't really want to do all that. Like, that's, even though this looks like a lot more makeup than that, just the hair and everything is a lot, but she looks gorgeous. She looks amazing. Of course, so does Colin. Everybody's touched. I loved all the redheaded people on her side. I loved that her sisters were actually, like, crying. I love that Eloise cried. I loved Yellow. That made me very emotional. It did. It really did hit me. I am a sucker. What can I say? And I wasn't even one of the people campaigning for Yellow, but I, of course, knew about the fandom conversation around it. So to have that be the wedding song, I was like, okay.
Not Yellow playing during the wedding.
And see how nervous she was. Portia walking her down the aisle, period. And then, you know, the perfect timing, you know, I love you so, with the nod, and then she comes back down the aisle and she finishes her walk. He's happy to see her, and there is still so much pain and so much unsaid and so much unresolved, but, you know, I love you so. And they're besties for the resties. And he does love her, and he does know that, and he does understand that no matter what, he does love her, and he gives her that nod of reassurance, and then she's okay, and then she hits forward, and then they do the vows. I did like that they showed the vows. Again, every couple should be afforded the same. The filming was good for this, the location was good for this. Like, this did feel like a wedding, it did feel touching.
With my body, I thee worship.
And by the joining of hands, I now pronounce...
It did feel scandalous when they kissed. Like, I know it's a wedding, but, like, I was like, whew! Even though literally we saw them fuck. Like, I was like, oh, they're torn! Must be clutching their pearls! Eloise must be like, I hadn't thought of this. I hadn't thought of the fact that you're gonna touch lips. Let alone anything else.
Oh! What the fuck is happening this episode?
Oh, I love the moment with their hand at the end. That's so great. Again, I will get into, like, the poetry and the symbolism and the depth of it in my Paul and relationship analysis. But yeah, it was a beautiful wedding. It was. And I love seeing everybody there, except for Daphne, which is annoying. Bring Phoebe Dynevor back. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to make that happen, but it needs to, okay? Then we have the, like, after party. There's all these different storylines going on. They kind of, like, hint to the Mondriches, I guess, gaining social capital or something. Prudence is actually nice and, like, compliments Penelope, and then Penelope's taken aback. That's very sweet. Very unsuspecting. Again, very pleasant surprise of this entire thing.
Congratulations, Penelope. You do make an exceptionally fine bride.
Would you like to say how you really feel now?
It is how I really feel.
Thank you.
Oh. Hyacinth is a comedic icon where she's like, why do you look so depressed?
It was the most beautiful wedding.
Thank you, Hyacinth.
And Penelope looked stunning. Why do you look so vacant?
Why do you look so vacant?
Just, you know, she really do be like every kid just saying what you think, like no thought. Penelope looked beautiful. Why do you look like you want to kill yourself? You know, she's oblivious to the drama, thank God. They're kind of like, you know, they're oceans apart, right? At their own wedding breakfast, like the tragedy of it, the irony of it. And then they finally, you know, go to each other, and she talks about dancing. Of course, dancing is so significant for them as a couple. So this was a great way to, like, mark their journey. She's talking about not wanting to be a wallflower, wanting to be in the center, stepping into the light with her husband. He's like, okay. It's interesting because this wasn't the dance that they choreographed this dance to, but the song of You Belong With Me. I mean, Come on now. Now, I'm a Swiftie, so anything Taylor Swift, I'm like, well, yes, thank you very much, and absolutely. But this is a perfect song for them, you know? Why can't you see you belong with me? Come on now. Oh. What? Actually, what is happening? This isn't real life. Oh, and then John, sweetheart that he is, he's like, should we dance? Even though, like, he doesn't like dancing, he doesn't like being the center of attention, but he wants to step into life more for Jessica. Ah! And she's like, I thought you didn't like it. And he's like, no, let's do it. And then Violet is forced to look at it good, as she should. And they're so sweet and gentle.
Lord Gilmartin, do not mean it.
Why not?
He does.
I do not think you dancer.
Perhaps not. But perhaps we should both be bold and gentle.
I'm so overwhelmed. What the fuck? What is happening? What the fuck? But Penelope and Colin are in their own world. I mean, they're about to fuck on the dance floor. It's a fuck fest on the dance floor. You know, that type of vibe. But they're like, it's very intimate, which I love to see.
Her Majesty the Queen.
We love a moment where like everybody's surrounding them and they literally have no idea. Nobody else in the world is there but them two. Looking into each other's eyes, caressing her face gently. I'm gonna kill myself. But still like fraught. It's like happy but not. Will there ever be a happy Bridgerton wedding? I don't think so. I don't think so, actually. I guess Queen Charlotte is the closest we could get. Oh well. I miss Queen Charlotte, by the way. Dearly and desperately. I saw that interview that India and Corey did the other day and I was shook. I was like, oh! They're speaking. They exist. They're still alive. Like, I couldn't believe it. It's crazy. Ugh, Queen Charlotte was so good. Anthony has a moment and I was so shocked that they even did this. You know, again, I had given up hope. So to see them expanding on Kate's heritage, her culture, her background, going to India, that side of the family, talking about Edwina. I love talking about Edwina. Like, they could have brought Edwina, but I love them even mentioning Edwina. Edwina finding her bookish man, but then love of the outdoors, and her talking about her writing. Like, I was just like, oh, yes, this is what we needed. We needed more focus on this in the second season. It was sorely lacking focus on their backstory and Kate's past.
When was your last letter from Edwina?
There was one waiting when we returned. She writes that her new husband is not only a reader, but has cultivated in her a love for the outdoors. Shocking, I know. She has even been riding with him. Oh, I'm so envious. You cannot imagine how charming our town in India is. It has been so long since I have ridden there.
I should like to see it.
So the fact that they retroactively went back and did it, is it a little like obvious? Like, it's like, okay, they know that they fucked up there, so they have to go back and, you know, kind of fill in the blanks? Yes. But did I appreciate it? Yes. Was it touching to me? Yes. I was genuinely shocked by this. I was surprised by this. I was so taken aback. And it really did overwhelm me because I was just like, oh, they're talking about it. Kate and Nancy spin-off episode in India.
In fact, I should like to see it soon. Before our child comes.
Now, of course I want to go over with you one day. But the journey takes months.
Yeah, and if we go now, we will have time to prepare for the birth. Yeah. Look, I know how much you love our life here. You have made yourself completely a part of our family.
Oh my god, we're talking about India. Like, we're talking about Kate's past and her family and her heritage and her side of the family. And, like, we're really delving into, like, Kate a little bit more, which is so deserved.
Our child will always be a Bridgerton. But I should like them to know that they are a Sharma as well. Know their history. And it is important for me to know it so that we can share that history with our child together. Mother will understand that. And we will return.
And them just being, they're just perfect. It's so beautiful. They love each other so much. And she's just like, you know, I don't make me love you anymore. I don't think it's possible. Like, him talking about the baby knowing that they're Jarma too, like, oh my god! I really thought they weren't ever gonna address any of these things again, or they weren't gonna expand on it, or they weren't gonna carry that storyline over at all, so the fact that they did, I was just like, thank god. Like, it was just very touching and felt very gratifying, and I don't know, it felt like a long time coming. It was very, like, overwhelming and emotional, because I was just like, it was missing in season 2, and then there's such, like, grief over it not being there, that, like, even a hint of it, or a suggestion of it, was just, like, so overwhelming. I was very overwhelmed during this time.
Please do not make me love you more. I do not think I can bear it.
What is happening? Not me actually shedding a tear. Benedict, like, goes off to have a threesome, I guess. Not him leaving his brother's wedding to go have a threesome. That's crazy. Oh my god. But Eloise is upset, and they have a beautiful moment where, you know, I love Benedict and Eloise's relationship. I love the sincerity and the earnestness that they speak to each other with. They're so honest. They see each other so clearly. And, you know, he's like, your relationship with Penelope doesn't change. And just like your relationship with Colin doesn't change just because they have a relationship. You know, like, that was a very beautiful and insightful and mature piece of wisdom that he offered her, and I think a gift that he gave her, because she is struggling and she is in a weird spot, and she's happy for them and she loves them, but it does feel lonely, and I think that, again, that's another hint towards her and her season and approaching that. Then the queen comes, and, you know, Pen leaving on impulse and Colin stopping her. Classic so romance novel. So, you're a Bridgerton now. I mean, come on. Pen's Bridgerton.
Penelope, you are a Bridgerton now.
No, she was leaving. You know, she thinks she's figured it out yet again. She kind of has, kind of, sort of, maybe not. This is, like, tense, I guess. Francesca is such a cutie patootie, thinking she's the one with the secret. She's like, I love John. And the queen's like, what? I couldn't care less about that. Be gone. Anthony is not incorrect when he says, I would know if this is going on in his house. It was not going on in his house. He's correct. He is correct. Lady Danbury and you know, Eloise know at that point, so it's funny, because this whole side of the lineup knows who it is, and then this whole side doesn't, and that was a comedic little thing. Again, the queen is pretty psychotic about this. This energy and intensity doesn't really carry over into the next episode, which I can see why people have issues with that, but I don't know what to say. Like, it's a story device. They're trying to ramp up the tension and make it even more of a problem and an issue and a thing that she's scared to reveal, and then it causes more tension between Colin and her, which then, you know, prompts them to go and have their little argument outside, which, by the way, so sorry to this man, so sorry to this woman, so clearly reshoots. Like, it does not look like the same day. What now?
I did not know if it would help or hurt your family if I were to speak.
I'm glad you stayed silent, but surely this is a signal of the right path forward.
Or the same hair, or the same people, or the same time at all, whatsoever. Like, so obvious. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. You can't really help those things. Sometimes it's hard to have continuity across the way, but I was like, okay, wig. Okay, totally different time period. Like, they both just look so different. I was just like, oh, a lot of time has passed since you first filmed this. Okay, got it. But, again, this is a confrontation that I like. I like Penelope standing up for herself a little bit more and pushing back. And I do think, whether or not you agree with it, it's a smart move from the writers to move her argument sort of in a feminist direction, where it's like, okay, well, women can't do anything, and women are going to be weaponized for whatever they do, and men can do whatever they want and say whatever they want, and, you know, women just can't, and that's true. That is a reality. That is a privilege that Colin has that he hasn't thought about, and that he does need to be checked on, right? And it is another element that I think adds to the understanding of why Pen did what she did, and why she wants to hang on to it, and why it's kind of unfair that people expect her to give it up entirely. I think there's undeniable truth in this monologue. Like, regardless of what you think of it in the context of Bridgerton and in Penelope and in their relationship, she's speaking facts, right? You know, the parts of women that they don't like, they have to conceal, and you don't know what it's like to be a woman, and all of those things are very true. And that is, again, an element that, like, you do have to consider when you're thinking of Pen just in general, it adds a little bit of reverence and respect for what she's been able to accomplish and what she's been able to do. And it puts a particular spin on it where you kind of see it in a new light and you look at it through that lens. And when you do look at it through a gendered lens, through a feminist lens, it is true. Like, why should she give that up? Why should she be expected to? Why should everything be jeopardized when it wouldn't be the same for a man? Like, there is an inequality and an injustice in and around that. And again, a privilege that Colin doesn't realize or understand that he has, that she's informing him of. Again, he's valid still. That doesn't make his own concerns and his own investment and his own hurt in all of this invalid. But it's just yet another element that kind of works in her favor. That again, I think it's smart that they went that route. And I think making it this kind of a thing and this kind of an issue about women and women expressing themselves and women having agency and autonomy and being business-minded, business-forward. What does that look like? How does that manifest? How has she made this world for herself is smart if they want to have her continue doing it, which they obviously do. Of course, then he stomps off, says he can't accept that. She's upset because she's like, it's our wedding night. Like, okay, you're sleeping on the couch on our wedding night. What's happening? People are mad about that too. I'll talk about that more next episode, but I love that. I love that choice. I think it makes a lot of sense for Colin. I actually think it's very romantic, if you're asking me particularly, but I did love that she was able to rely on Eloise in this moment, and their friendship is rekindled. Again, it's not perfect, and I did like that it wasn't perfect. It didn't come back together in a way that felt seamless or just, like, convenient. It was still a little messy. There was still that hurt. There was still, you know, those cracks. It was still, like, under repair and under construction, but at the end of the day, she's going to be there for her, and it is a very complicated dynamic. Again, like, she's consoling her for the way her brother just treated her, and it's Whistledown who hurt her, but now Whistledown is in her favor, but, you know, like, it's just very complicated, and I think that was touching to see them be there for each other, but to see Eloise be there for Penelope in that moment, and she needed that. I'm sorry. We're moving on to the threesome, and I'm looking at my notes. I said, not her looking at them kissing and smiling. She's kind of me in principle. She is kind of me in principle. I don't know about practice, but she is me in principle. Sure, I guess if we're not gonna get Colin and Penelope fucking, we could get Benedict. This is the craziest episode of the fucking show. Benedict.
It is pleasant to see you again. And to see both of you. I've been thinking about your offer.
He said, I've been thinking about your offer. I said, offer? Offer? What offer? An offer from a gentleman, perhaps? But yeah, they get into it, I guess. Good for them. Pop off, I guess. Not in the, like, foyer. They went there. Wow. Oh my god. Oh. What am I supposed to say? Like, there's no emotional anything with this. That's another thing. I think maybe that's also, if there's no emotional, like, depth or resonance or connection, like, why do I care? I don't really care about that. Like, sure, they're all hot. Good for them. And what about it? You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to say? What else is there to add to that? They're all hot and sexy. And good for them that they get to explore that together and they like it and they're having fun. I guess. In principle. There's just something off about the chemistry as well. Like, I just don't really see it. And I don't really even, the more that I think about it, the more I don't really see it with Tilly either. I mean, to be fair, I don't really see it with anybody with Benedict. Which, again, if this is intentional, genius. Absolutely genius. I love it. I never said a bad thing about it. If it's not, but if it's intentional and then, like, everything's just gonna be so different with Sophie, which I don't doubt that it will, even if it was unintentional, you know, I can deal with that. I can do that. But yeah, it just feels a little empty to me, which I think is kind of the direction that they're going for Benedict. So I'm okay with it, because it's like, this whole thing is kind of like, it's like hedonistic pleasure, like, okay, exploration, fun, freedom, whatever. Sure. But that only gets you so far, and that only lasts so long. And then what are you left with? He's gonna want and need something more by the end of it. And I think that that's reflected. You feel it. It's like, oh, these are attractive people hooking up together, exploring, like, whatever, that's fun. But do I care? Do they know each other? Do they like each other? Do they love each other? No. And do I? No. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not invested. So I think that that actually is an element of Bridgerton that can work pretty well, because they can have that, but the thing that makes the sex sexy is the connection, right? Sex for sex sake, I don't care. I don't even really necessarily want to see that. Like, I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's the building up of tension and the longing and the pining and the yearning and the character arcs and the character dynamics and the growth and the forbidden love, and like, it's all those things building up to it that makes the payoff actually worthwhile, right? It's like, those scenes are fulfilling and rewarding because of the emotional element. If you take that away, it's really not anything. It doesn't really do anything for me, certainly, at least. Then at the end, I mean, this was a gag. This was a gag. I couldn't believe they were going with the book plot. Like, I truly was mystified. I was gooped and gagged. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh, they're doing it. They're really going full send. Full throttle, pedal to the metal. They are really doing it. Because they had already done the impersonation bit. So I was like, oh, now they're going to do this. They're really going with it. And it felt like, I was like, how are they fitting all this in? It really did. I didn't understand how they were going to fit it all in, and I still, sorry, sue me, I still think they fit it in really, really impressively. Like, all the things that they managed to juggle and get in from the book is so crazy, and people were like, oh, it's not like the book. It's literally exactly like the book. It is, I really don't know how to explain that. I don't know. And maybe there are certain things missing, but like, they got as much from the book as they possibly could. It felt like a unbelievably faithful adaptation. I couldn't believe they did as much from the book as they did, this included. And I think my reaction probably shows that. Like, I was like, oh, they're doing it. Oh my god, they're getting this in. Like, with one episode left, they're doing it. I couldn't believe it.
She was right at that.
Oh. What else did he tell you?
Okay. Fuck, holy shit. Ah! Okay. What the fuck just happened? I went crazy! I feel crazy.
I still think that the way that they managed to pull a lot of things off in the second half in particular was really impressive. Like, maybe I need to do a longer video on it, like, explaining more about why I feel that way, but my opinion hasn't changed on that. I think they really addressed a lot of things, and maybe it's because I was going in with really low expectations, especially after season 2. Like, I just was like, it's gonna be a mess. Nothing's gonna happen from the book. Like, they're not gonna do anything justice. Nothing's gonna get wrapped up. Nothing's gonna ever get addressed, and things are gonna be swept under the rug. And certainly things were, and there could have been things done a little bit better, but like, for the most part, I think they wrapped it up really well. They got everything that they needed to, and then some. And they answered all the questions, they tied all the loose threads, and they were really faithful to the book, and wound up being very good to Colin and Penelope individually and as a couple. That's just my opinion, though. That's just how I see it. That's just how I see the season. And I do think that maybe some of that is the groundwork that was laid for the first 2 seasons. Like, there is something to seeing the growth of these characters and the interactions. Like, the fact that I was able to do a Paul and relationship analysis over the first 2 seasons adds to this 3rd season, right? It's like, I have a lot to build on and there's a lot to go on. Which is another reason why I think it's interesting that people complain about them not having enough time. I'm like, they definitely had enough time. Now, would I like to see more of them? Sure. Will we see more of them? Yes. So, I'm like, okay, But I don't think people understand, like, the way that things kind of have to work. And in the end, if they did justice by the couple, then I think that's the most important thing. If they hadn't, then I would be saying something very different. Season 2. But since they did, I, again, still feel like it was done well. But that's just me. But we will get to the last episode. A lot of the things that I touched on today, again, these are just general thoughts. I will definitely do more videos on. Paul and relationship analysis, I'll get into all of this. Let me know if you want an anatomy of a scene for the Modiste bitch-off scene, because I have that pretty much all written. I guess I would need to record it and, like, edit it. But if you're interested in seeing me break down that, like, line by line, expression by expression, then let me know. But I will talk about some of the things that I touched on here in further depth much more later. And I will see you for yet another video very soon.